Good evening all. Welcome to Countdown to Kickoff back on the LFC Daytrippers. Tonight I'm delighted obviously to be joined by Chris Brack, who is back. Tonight's show is sponsored by Manscaped, brought to you this show by Manscaped. Visit manscaped.com and use the code LFCDT at checkout for 20% and free shipping. All details are in the description below on tonight's show. Well, it's great to have you back on, Chris. Me and Conroy have been on a bit lately on the Countdown to Kickoffs and obviously enjoyed the games even better than the results that come with them after it. Mighty AC Milan at Anfield tonight, first time. I think this is that they're at Anfield. It's we've played them very little in the European Cup over the years. Obviously, the most won memorable final in 2005, Istanbul. How can any Liverpool fan, whether you're even alive, remember it? Or forget it, I should say. Everyone remembers it. 2 years later, obviously played them in Athens, and look, it was the straw, wasn't it? We were beaten 2-1. They got some sort of revenge, even though it was nothing like the 2005. And it was a great time to be a Liverpool fan over them couple of years in Europe. But tonight, obviously, it's different. It's AC Milan. They're back in the Champions League. Obviously, our neighbours and rivals knocked them out last year in United Europa League. What's your thoughts going into tonight's game, Chris? I just seen coming into this that AC Milan have won 3 out of 3 in Serie A so far. Obviously, runners up last season behind our rivals Inter. So, a good proposition tonight. What we face, do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's good to be back on. I've been too busy gallivanting, going games, doing stuff for the women's team at the moment. So it's
Brilliant.
good to come back on the show for a bit. Yeah, look, Champions League. I can't wait for it. I'm gutted I'm not there, but first Champions League game back since Atletico Madrid.
Atletico, yeah,
nearly 2 years ago since we've had sort of venomous crowd. So I think that'll play to hands. But yeah, first time Milan have ever been to Anfield. It's a bit mad. Two colossal clubs like that, and they never face each other in knockouts or group stages, just finals. It's a bit mad. So yeah, look, I've got to admit, I'm a bit surprised. There's a few surprises in the lineup. One big one, which we will get into. But look, I mean, I think Liverpool's record in the whole is generally pretty good against Italian teams. I think our last 2 games against Italians we haven't won, which is the 1-1 with Napoli. But to be honest, the game was we were already qualified. It didn't really matter too much. And then we lost to Atalanta 2-0, didn't we? And a bit of a mad game. But generally, we do quite well. I mean, AC
Milan's Atlanta away as well.
We did, yeah.
Against Atlanta, Jota hat-trick, and then to be beaten 2-0 at home, none of us seen it coming. And it's kind of similar to tonight. No one's expecting Liverpool to lose and obviously to not score. So and look, you look back at last night's game, obviously our rivals in United went away, scored early, and you expect, look, it's an onslaught here. This is a game they certainly don't lose, never mind not only win. And they did, and it just shows that this Champions League, this competition, it's the best of the best, and every game be bang on at it, and it's so competitive. And you just look at their group, the mighty AC Milan, Porto, Atletico, and as you said, the last time we played the Champions League game was against Atletico. You go back to that night, the atmosphere, unbelievable. I was at the game against Bournemouth a couple of days before that, and all the anticipation, the build up to that Atletico game was around the days coming at that game at Anfield, where I think we played Bournemouth. It was a 12:30 kickoff, and you could just see everyone was holding on to that bit of appetite and hunger for the atmosphere for the Wednesday night game, and that was an unbelievable game, a game where it was a tale of two keepers, wasn't it really? We'd Adrian, they'd Oblak kept them in the game, and then obviously Adrian had a lot to do, and when he didn't do it. So we're back in it. It's great to see back with a big game against AC Milan. And this aside, Chris, is there any fear, do you think, Liverpool will have in playing them tonight? And do you think they'll thrive and relish this tie because it's at Anfield the first time they play?
I think they'll thrive in it. I think having the crowd back, first European, I think will help us. I mean, Milan's record in England's not great. I think they've only won 1 of the last 13 meetings against English sides. I mean, admittedly, the last team to beat was Arsenal, so it's kind of, I think anyone could have guessed it would be Arsenal. But yeah. I mean, Kev O'Sullivan's a bit tongue-in-cheek here. Can't believe the lineup. What is Klopp thinking? Christ almighty, you couldn't make it up. Naby's fit.
Yeah,
I don't think that's what he means, but we'll cut to that.
No, but I know what Kev's hitting at there, but it is strange to see Matip, Gomez and Naby Keita, the 3 really injury-prone players that are all starting to get off of Liverpool. And in a way, it's great to see, because in pre-season, we know, look, Gomez had done relatively well, Naby Keita done really well, and it's great to see that they're given a chance in a big game like this. But what I was saying to Conroy about Thiago starting against Leicester weekend, it was great to see it. But he needs to show what he's made of. He needs to show where he's starting. And obviously he done that. He's probably man of the match for us in the day. Unbelievable. Like it's Thiago West from Bayern, wasn't it? And tonight Naby's just going to have to prove his worth, prove why he should be starting, prove a good dilemma, a headache for Klopp in terms of picking a midfield. Now with Harvey Elliott potentially out till at least the new year, or longer, it's a chance now for Naby again to be knocking on the door and prove his worth. And once he's available and he's shown us what he can do, that chance will be there. And it's great to see Gomez come back in. I've said on previous streams last season, Chris, that at 22 and 23, Gomez was playing at a higher level than the likes of John Terry, Rio Ferdinand. Do you know what I mean? So we forget how good he is. It's just the injuries and how he bounced back. But tonight, again, it's a good chance. And Kanate on the bench. And it's great, I think, to see Van Dijk being rested and just getting him back in. Because, like, I didn't expect us to go too strong tonight. And we haven't, which I'm pleased about, because it's only another 3 nights away now to when we play Palace. And that's a huge game after them coming off a big win against Spurs, you know. So we need wins in the league, and we also need to be winning in the Champions League. So tonight's lineup, not surprising for me and probably expected. But what Kev was saying there, what's your thoughts on tonight's lineup, Chris? Are you surprised or excited or apprehensive?
A little surprised, as in I actually thought he might have got. I was surprised Matip out of 2's probably not the one that rested, but I thought he might have asked Matip and Van Dijk to do one last big push for the next 2 games, because they're not going to play against Norwich. You know, I doubt they'll even travel. But then again, you know, Virgil, he's just back from an ACL. You know, he's played 4 league games for us. He's played 2 games for Holland. You know, you don't want to push it to see how we go. To see how he goes. I'm all right with Keita coming in. Look, Keita had played really well. I would say in the games he played before. To be fair, he lost his place to Harvey Elliott, so can't be helped. But you know, I think he'll be fine.
What about
Gomez,
bench, Chris? Oh, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, sorry. Gomez, I'm pleased to see him back, to be honest. You know, what people forget is when Van Dijk got injured, he went in left-sided centre-back. And to be fair, he's shown real leadership qualities. Yeah, things that people probably didn't think he had. He really was starting to show a bit of leadership quality. And I'm looking forward to him and Matip. Look, if we'd have had him and Matip all of last season, we'd have been a lot healthier. So I'm right with that. The big surprise is, and look, it's the comments are going mad about it, is big Divock. Look, I said to you, he's not been in 3 of the last 4 squads. It's a little surprise that he's thrown in, but he obviously wants to give one of the front 3 a bit of a rest, because he can't keep playing them every game. Elliott being out loses an option, and Minamino's only just come back from an injury, so I suppose Origi is the only option. You know, the other way of doing it would have been
he's also
Chamberlain.
been fit, hasn't he, through pre-season? I think news broke, those rumours circulating around social media during pre-season that Origi was going to stay and we weren't going to keep him, and a few of us were like, well, we'll know more as pre-season goes on. I think a lot of us kind of took with a pinch of salt, where he will go or he won't. When you see Shaqiri then, you know, going Wilton, you kind of thought, right, this is the deadwood going. But Origi stayed on, so if he's going to stay at the club and he's a part of plans this season, why wouldn't you not play him if he's fit? And he hasn't been injured, like you said, Minamino and that half. And Origi, like, my stance on Origi is clear. I think the drop-off is phenomenal from the front 3, and Jota, who's obviously in there as well with the lads. The 3 out of M4 play all the time. It's such a drop-off that Origi can be frustrating, but the only way you're going to get goals from him and contribution is by playing him. And I mean, if Palace is probably a bigger game than tonight, really, because there's we played 5 games in this group, and you know, we look overall we're going to qualify for the group. I don't know whether it really makes a difference whether you come first in the group or you come second once you qualify, you know. But the main thing is getting out of this group, qualifying, and trying to get out of it as early as possible. Because obviously for us, and it's clear, it's evident the last couple of seasons, that's the Premier League and Champions League are priority. So this is a game, again, it's a priority. But we also need to go in with a rejuvenized and refreshing squad for Palace the weekend, because again, that's a huge game. As I said, they come off a 3-0 win. They got their first win of the season. We're at home. Again, pressure on is expected to win. So you kind of have to eye 2 games and who do you play in both and who do you start with. So this wouldn't have been an easy call for Klopp, I'm sure. What's your stance, obviously, on Origi starting?
Look, I think the problem with Origi is he just hasn't done it since, I'll probably say, since the Champions League final.
Yeah.
So, you can understand why people get frustrated. But look, we're not going to harp on about the summer, but the squad is a squad. So, like you said, you've got to use him. I think the problem is Origi has quite people accuse him of being lazy, whether he is or whether he isn't. He's always had that quite languid, laid back style. Even when he was scoring goals for us, he's that type of player. So that's why he probably frustrates a lot more. I'm assuming he'll play on the left, and you'll play Jota in the middle and Salah on the right. Does it give us enough flexibility? I'm not sure. But as big as the Palace game is, for me, this is a massive game, because if you get off the Champions League with the right starters in, we should be looking to get 6 points from these and Porto. It takes all the pressure off the Madrid game. You don't really want to be going to Madrid away going, really need a win tonight. Really need a win tonight. You want to go to Madrid away going, I'm all right with a point. Because if you get 6 points in the first two games, do you know what? You're halfway there.
Absolutely.
Takes pressure off Madrid, because you don't really want to go to Milan away last game of the season going, I need a win or I need a draw.
And psychologically as well, Chris, this would be a huge lift, because obviously we're in a bit of form now. We've won 3 out of our last 4. We drew 1 against Chelsea. We started off the season really well, conceded 1 goal, scored 9. So if you can start off the Champions League with that kind of drive, energy, intensity, with 3 points is the most important thing tonight, not really how much we play. It is huge psychologically, and it's good going into this group. And then all of a sudden, people out before it goes in even to the second game of the Champions League, we're already up there to be one of the favourites, because we started off winning. And at home in the Champions League particularly, you want to be winning as many home games in the group. Like if you win your 3 home games in the group, that's 9 points. You probably only need a point away from home then to probably automatically qualify, or you can second place. But look, there's no doubt about it. We'll be looking with that squad. If you look at that bench tonight, there's a bit of strength and depth when all our 17, 18 players are fit, which they seem to be, minus Harvey Elliott. There's no excuse for us not to be going out with that drive, intensity, and not be really putting too much onus on the next game. So having one eye on the next game, but one on tonight. And I think at stages last season, we were doing a bit of that, particularly when we went into that Madrid game. We just, I don't know whether that focus or concentration was there, but it needs to be this time around, because we always prioritise the league and Champions League, and whether the team's going to be good enough to compete on both fronts, at least do everything you can in the group, because it's an exciting group. I think it's a very tough group, but as you said tonight, nothing than a win will do for me. I'll be really pleased for a win. Talking about Chris, the couple of the options I just mentioned on the bench, what do you make of the bench? It's very strong, isn't it? The 2 keepers, and then Van Dijk, Kanate, Thiago, Milner, Mane, Ox, Jones, Minamino, Tsimikas, and Nat Phillips, who was
it's plenty of depth, in probably midfield and defence. I think someone will be surprised Thiago's not starting Champions League, because he was brilliant against Leeds, and we still haven't yet seen this midfield of Thiago, Henderson, Fabinho. At some point, it feels on paper that's the strongest midfield.
Yeah, I agree totally.
Yeah, the Elliott loss is still a big loss, because he gives us an extra added bit of flexibility where he could play wide right, but he's probably better in the centre now. We've now realised that. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, I've seen quite a few in the chat. Just, we were saying it's Origi's last chance. Just to be clear, lads, it's not his last chance. He's here till the summer. He'll play before now and the end of the summer. So we are kind of have to lump it and get on with that a little bit. So writing caps locks and all that, it's not going to change it. We just may as well just get on with it, really. So a few were saying, was Naby's punishment for his agent's comments? I find it would doubt it. He's probably been told to tell his agent to wind his neck in. But end of the day, for Naby, when you're fit, mate, you've got to do it consistently. And he's done okay this season. So here's your opportunity now. Big game, Milan, without Zlatan, which is probably a bonus for us. And Giroud on the bench. He's probably the biggest concern coming off the bench for me is Giroud. I think he's got 8 and 16 against Liverpool. He loves a goal against Liverpool. So
it's a goal every 2 games, isn't it, against Liverpool, really?
Yes. So Liverpool definitely, unlike the Leeds game at times, we need to, if we get ahead, need to get this game boxed off early. You don't want it to go into 1-0 with 10 minutes to go, and you certainly don't want to, like a repeat of what happened to our friends up the East Lancs Road. We saw what happened to them. Yeah, you hold you hold on for 1-0, and it only takes one bad tackle, and you're all of a sudden going, "Oh Christ, this is a lot more difficult." So, but look, there's options to come off the bench here. You got, it's good to see Milner, Mane off the bench. We've seen before sometimes with Mane coming off the bench, you can fire him up. Yeah. But also, I just think maybe he just wants to give a couple lads a rest. So,
yeah, absolutely.
It wouldn't surprise me against Palace if you saw Manny and Manny and Jota start, and Chamberlain's wide right, and Salah's on the bench. It really wouldn't shock me. People won't like it, but you've got to rotate it somewhere.
Speaking of Salah, I've seen a stat coming into it that Salah is one of 4 players to score 25 plus goals in the Champions League. So you've Lewandowski, obviously Ronaldo and Messi ahead of him. So I think he's on 25 now. So it's again a chance tonight to break more records. We've seen the record. He joined the 100 club on Sunday. What do you make now of Salah? I mean, it's evident and it's clear. Not just this season, last season, the season before, he's very underrated and undermined by a lot of people, probably even some in our own fan base. But I mean, he's extraordinary, isn't he? He's just world class and he's a machine. He's always available, fit. The physique, how he looks after himself, off the pitch, and then how well he performs on the pitch as well. He's just phenomenal, isn't he, Chris?
Oh, you run out of superlatives, when people do like the all-time 11s, and people talk about the Hansons, and John Barneses and Kenny Dalglish's.
Yeah,
you're right wingers, Mo Salah. He's I think he's 10th on the goal scoring charts from wide right. It's ridiculous. And as people say, when you look at the what rivals say, and if people get wound up by what rivals play him down, rivals don't play down. Rivals always play down your best player. They don't play down crap players. You don't hear rivals talking about Origi because they don't care. They don't care about other players. They all fear Salah. Everyone fears Salah, and they fear what he can do, and he can turn anything. He's proven it. So anyone who wants to talk him down, I just smirk and go, it's just a fear that people don't want to admit to. That's why they don't like him. I've seen a few ask about the Milan side. It's strong. I'll be honest, I can't pronounce half the names. That's more my bad than anything else. I mean, centre back wise, they're really strong. Tomori from Chelsea,
Keja as well, the Dane centre back, and who'd you say, Tomori,
who was at Chelsea.
Yeah.
I was surprised. Yeah. He went to Milan on loan last year, played really well, and Chelsea have sold him. I'm a little surprised Chelsea sold him because he's really good. And with Chelsea playing a back three, but they only have really 4 recognised centre backs, you think he'd get game time. Look, I think it's a great move for Tomori. Don't be surprised if you see him move back to England in a couple of years' time. He's a really, really good centre back. Yeah. Hesse is well talked about. He's been linked with the Premier League quite a lot. Powerful destroyer type midfielder. And then shout out to Avi from Sports Unplugged. Diaz, who's on loan from Real Madrid. Avi seems to be a very big fan of him.
The young lad, yeah. No, he's on loan, isn't he? He's only had a couple of goals for AC. He might have had 5 or 6, but he's very, very dangerous player, still young, and a player that, I think he's 22, 23, that's potentially, again, going to be world class. But, our back 5 tonight with the keeper there and then Fabinho in front, we're strong at the back, and I think there's a good, composed, compact spine there in the team. I'm not too worried about us there. I think it's all right. But I think these players coming to Anfield tonight, as you mentioned, there's going to be a ferocious atmosphere. It's going to be great to see Anfield back in full voice on a European night. And it'll be the floodlights, because obviously it's getting darker a bit earlier, which is great, isn't it? Anfield and floodlights. First game against Milan at Anfield AC. And since Pioli, is it the manager? He was at Fiorentina a couple of seasons ago, was come in. AC have done really well. I mean, the last season they got runners up behind Inter. Okay, Inter won it well deservedly under Conte, but that was the first season, I think, in 9-10 seasons where they got runners up. So they've been in the pits for a while. AC as a club, they haven't had that same glory or recognition or anywhere near that status that they once had. Obviously, when we last played with 1,070 beaters and that, but they've come a long way, and they're back now in Champions League. They'll feel like they're back in the club to somewhat, what they were. But still a lot to go.
Yes, the first time back since 13-14. I think they struggled in Europe. I think Europa Leagues, they haven't got as deep as you would like. Kev's asking, is Tonelli play? He's not. No, he's on the bench tonight. The other thing that's quite nice to see, because it's Milan, it's quite interesting, is having a Maldini in the squad for Milan is just
Maldini, yeah.
The young Maldini. Now this is, the famous father's son. So, but it's one of those things you like to see, Maldini and Milan. It's just natural. That's what you want to see. Isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see as well. It's great to see that there's a new Maldini generation in that team. He's on the bench as well, isn't he? So it'd be good to see him play a part. Obviously, their first game at Anfield, and for him to have played it, because that's something his father didn't do as good as he was.
Go on, Daz, I'll let you take that one.
Chris, pronounced Salah Makers.
Yeah, he's the central midfielder. I don't know too much about him, to be honest.
Salah Makers. No, either way. I've heard of him though. I think he
Yeah.
started against Lazio. They won the weekend against Lazio. That was their third win. But I don't know much about him now. But well done,
No, I
Abby.
don't. I mean,
you're on the ball here.
I was going to attempt to pronounce his name because I'll just absolutely ruin it because my pronunciation's horrendous with stuff like that.
He's probably laughing. Now, my pronunciation's probably bad and he's probably laughing. This Irish accent is one thing, but trying to pronounce that name's another.
Yeah.
So big up Abby all the way in California, bro.
Be interesting how the keeper does as well because they lost Donnarumma in the summer to PSG and they bought the keeper from Lille. Obviously, won the La Liga last year.
Mahigan, is it? Mahigan,
yeah, so I don't know too much about him, but in a nice way, I can't imagine he's the same level as Donnarumma. You know,
no, he's nowhere near it. No, he's
that doesn't mean he's terrible, but
yeah,
I'd like us. I think the key for Liverpool is, and it's a cliche, but it's probably a cliche for a reason, is early goal first 10-15. While the crowd's loud, while the crowd's going.
That energy's there.
Yeah. We've seen that before. We get the crowd going. We get a goal in the first 10. It can sometimes disrupt, and it's a very young Milan side. So young sides react to ways in absolutely. It's either freeze or it inspires them. It's one or the other. You'd like to think this is going to inspire the Liverpool side.
It'll be interesting to see who plays well tonight for Milan, who kind of stands out. Players that in Serie A and when they were in the Italian Cup and that in Europa League last season, players that probably there's potential there but haven't done lot could come out tonight and be really good at Anfield. So it'd be interesting to see and who really to watch out for, because I don't know a whole lot about AC Milan. I know a bit about them. I've seen a bit of them the last couple of seasons, but to be honest with you, I watch as little Serie A football as possible. Know a couple of bits about them, as I mentioned, a couple of the players, but it'll be interesting to see some of them, because some of them I haven't heard of before, but I know that keeper they've signed, you said it, from Lille last season. He won the league with them and is relatively good, but he's not a Donnarumma.
Yeah, and as Kevin rightly points out, Rebic, who's playing up for us, is a threat. And I know I'm concerned about Giroud to bench, but I've seen Rebic play. He's definitely got a threat about him. For those who are still asking, yes, Van Dijk's fine. He's on the bench. It's just purely
he's Croatian, isn't he, Rebic? I think
yeah. So for those asking, Van Dijk's just on the bench. That's all he's at. That's all he's getting. As Avi points out, Sam Kier should get a big ovation. I mean, Henson put a nice tweet out about him. He's took leadership to a new level. Look, the way he handled the Eriksen situation, which is a horrible situation for anyone to be put in, was class personified. I mean, he's a classy player anyway.
Brilliant. We were linked with him back in Rafa Benitez days. We could have got him when he was younger.
I am surprised no Premier League clubs tried to go for him, because I think stylistically he'd suit the Premier League. He's decent in the air. He's not bad in the ball either. He sort of feels like a Premier League style centre back, and he could do really well.
He's very good at coming out with the ball and driving forward. And I think he's got a couple of assists with Milan there coming out. Avi there, so it's back on the ball.
Avi with his tacky love in, because this is our inner joke. Will Tacky get some game time? Listen, mate, Origi's getting game time, so you know what? Anything could happen, but I think he'll only come off with comfortably winning, I would say. Yeah,
it's interesting with Minamino because he hasn't had a real good chance of those either. He came in last season, January the season before, and I suppose in some games he's done okay, but when he went on loan to Southampton, it was just when we brought in Kabak and Davis, and he gets a lovely goal against Chelsea, and I think he might have got another, and we're all kind of saying, would we not keep him? Because last season, obviously, we were looking for any excuse to have someone that was going to do something on the team, and he might have done all right at Liverpool, but it's good to see him back, and he needs to be given a chance. But I think, like you said, next week, the game coming up against Norwich, if we can stay in the League Cup, we'll get more ones than that if he can come on in Premier League games. So tonight is a big game for the likes of these lads. If any of them's given a chance to just go in with some authority and show why they want to be at Liverpool and do their best and all they can. And like, I know sometimes, even if the result isn't great, we're all able to pick out, well, such and such come on, done well, or he started, Naby Keita say starts, and he's done really well for us tonight, regardless of the result. So, like, they're going to be under an element of pressure, but they need to just, have that game face on, be focused, concentrate, do what they can do, because there's a bigger picture here for all of them. And I mean, we've struggled to get rid of some players over the last few seasons, and next summer isn't going to be where they'll be all gone either. There'll be definitely question marks, and it's next summer for a lot of these players. It's about, will Jurgen Klopp have some sort of faith in him. And if he has, that's going to be good for them. But they're going to have to do it between now and then in order to have some sort of future at the club, you know. And Minamino, again, the jury's out, but it's a chance, isn't it, for him again? It's a new season. So let's see if he does get a run, what he can do.
Yeah, you're right. I think he's also been a bit unlucky, Minamino. You know, he literally lands in the country and he goes into lockdown.
Yeah.
So he doesn't really get a chance to really sort of bond with his teammates. And then because we had to bring in Kabak and because of the homegrown quota issue, we had to loan somebody else. Nobody wanted Origi. So Minamino was the unlucky person. Because you see, the frustration, and this is probably a frustrating Klopp as well, is he was good in pre-season. And yet he's not going to look in. Now, fortunately for him, maybe if he'd not picked up the injury on international with Japan, he might have got a chance against. He might have gotten more of a chance, you know, against like Leeds or something like that. So, you know, but it's a long season, so you know, players are going to get chances. Players are going to get injuries. So you know, you just got to sort of roll with the punches. So, what sort of score are you thinking for tonight, then?
It's a hard one to call because, as I said, I've watched a bit of Milan. I don't know a whole lot about them. So, and obviously the Champions League. You look at some of the results last night. I'm going to go for 2-0. Just 2-0 on clean sheet, another win, big win at Anfield, win against Milan. I think between the two teams, look, huge success in Europe. I think there's 13 European Cups. They've 7, we've 6. So, look, the European pedigree, aren't they? And they'll be delighted more than anybody to be back. And it's great that we're up forced against them at home. 2-0, Stephen Dunn's putting in there 3-0 up the Reds. That'd be great. That'd be a perfect scoreline. 3 points, 3-0 clean sheet. 2-0, Chris. What are you going to go for tonight? And who are you going for as your scorers? Will Salah get over 25?
Well, you took me goal. You took me score. So I'll pick it up. Let's go. Oh, let's positive. Let's say 3-0. Be ultra positive. So we'll go Salah, Jota, and Mane to come off the bench to get his 20th Champions League goal. That'll be my 3. If that comes in, good luck to you if you bet on that.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, it's mad. Like, I know I seen the other day as well against Leeds. Mane is 1 goal off 100. So when it's kind of the equivalent of about 25 a season. He's with us now 5 seasons. So you know, it's not too bad. It's just last season it was a disappointing season from him. He came out and admitted that in goals, assists, and in performances. This season he started off a bit better. He's got goals. Leeds was very frustrating because he 10 shots and goal, Leeds at 9. But eventually that resilience got him the goal in extra time. It was great to see, but he's being so wasteful in front of goal. And if Mane can just be that bit more clinical, he had some aggression and hunger back against Leeds because I thought against Chelsea he was awful. You just need a bit of consistency on Mane. If he can get back there consistent, because he's always fit and available and he's always like urgent to play and get on for us. He's so disappointing if you take him off or he's on the bench. So you might see a bit of a sulk from Mane tonight. But it'd be great for him to come off even, because he'll again have a point to prove, because
he's still 2 and 4.
Not for me guaranteed either, you know, because he's been out for him.
But him and Jota are both 2 and 4. So for all, I know people talk about, you know, the more all-round game, like, but you know, goal scoring wise, they're both 2 and 4. You know, there's only Salah scoring more.
The barrier set so high, though, isn't it, for us now?
Yeah, lots of 2-1s in the chat. Bejan Pops has got 2-0. Avo's got 4-0, 2 in each half. I take that.
Yeah,
but I'll be honest, I'll take any sort of win, to be honest. But before we go, guys, if you can like, share, subscribe, you know, every bit helps. And most importantly, hashtag Sienna Steps. You know, we're halfway there to a total, so we've got enough to get her the treatment. Now we need the other half of the money so she can stay in America for the month after the treatment for important physio. So, you know, please give what you can. Anything else you want to cover, mate, before we go and let people go and enjoy the match?
Everyone just enjoy the game. It's great, isn't it? Champions League back, Anfield, floodlights. Look, it could be a big season for us in the European Cup. If we can get through this group, Chris, you know, we mentioned that we're going to be favourites with Atletico, but we'll see how good AC are tonight. And we'll see who performs for them well, who the stars are to watch. I'm really looking forward to this one tonight. It's just the first game. You're always a little bit apprehensive about it, but I'm more excited tonight than I would be in previous seasons.
It's exciting nerves, isn't it? And don't forget, guys, when the game's over, whatever the result, the guys from the Red Sea podcast, so Tiago's father and Southern Scouts, they'll both be dissecting the good, the bad, and the ugly of the game. So, you know, give the guys a watch after the game. It normally goes live about 15 minutes after full time, so that's another thing to look out for.
Hopefully the two lads are on full of smiles and humour after a big European win, absolutely.
Yeah, when Naby scores a bicycle kick, hopefully.
And Origi gets on the score sheet.
Cool. So on that happy note, we'll leave you guys be. So you got the Red Sea guys coming up later, and then later in the week we've got Sports Unplugged with Avi, and on Saturday we've got another countdown to kick off. It's me again. Do two in a row. I think it's me and Conroy this week. I'll go for the double. Yeah, it's me and Conroy. I think on Saturday, and then Red Sea again, and then of course we've got Fatback 4 again. So look after yourselves. Enjoy the match. Up the
all. Thanks for all subscribing and commenting.